welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Soundbites with Tanzi and Michele. And Tanzi has agreed, and I know she's been co-hosting with me just on different topics, but to jump in on lessons in leadership on her leadership journey, which I'm super excited about. So we're going to kick this one off with a quote, and there were a couple that we went, but this one was like, I mean, Tanzi thinks that she is the one that came up with this quote. But I think we're gonna give the credit to Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
He may have come up with it first. So if you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. So for me, when I think about that, I went back to John Maxwell and literally stepping outside your comfort zone, which is where we learn and we grow, and where the scary OS moments happen. But yet, when I think about you and your career, because I was an observer on the outside and sometimes not just observing on the outside through part of it, I think about those moments and other leaders too, that it's like, oh crap, and I went through it. I don't know that I can do this thing that I've never done before, but you know you have confidence in yourself. And then all of a sudden you look back and you go, that was easy, or not as difficult as I thought it would be, right? And then you're ready for the next open door.
Yeah.
And so when I think about that quote, that is the thing of kind of face your fears, do it anyway, step outside your comfort zone. That kind of, it like wraps up in a nice little bow what your career has been, as I've watched you step into those things that you had never done before. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the one thing that came to mind for me was those oh crap moments that you talked about, because I feel like I've had a lot of those. I would say I've had several defining moments, I feel like, but one that really resonates with me is when I left one organization that I loved working for. I feel like I learned so much there. I'm so grateful for all the learnings and the journey, and the fabulous people that I worked with, so many people that I admired. But I had to leave because I was ready to grow. And that opportunity was was outside of the organization. So it was very scary. Very scary. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. This is that thing that you've never done before. If you want something different, you got to do something you haven't done. Oh my goodness, I haven't done this before. It's very scary, but I did it. And I had a lot of those, oh my goodness moments along the way. But then after a while, I looked back and was like, wow, look at that. So impressed, so excited, and realized that it was probably one of the best decisions that I made from a growth perspective.
Tanzi, I 100% agree with you. And I think about that, and it's interesting because you and I at that time, and I remember you didn't tell me that you were leaving and making this change. And so when I found out, I was like, okay, because you were literally going already.
Like going.
Yeah, gone. And I think one leader gave you advice, don't look back.
Yeah. One leader said, when you go, don't look back.
Well, and so in that moment, what did that mean for you? Because I have my own take on it, but I'm curious what that meant for you in that moment.
I felt like at the moment when I heard that, I heard don't look back as embrace change, go, and go with force. That's what it meant to me.
Yeah, because when I think about that, because at the time you and I talked offline, of course we do talk offline. It was an emotional thing for you. This was not an easy decision to come by. So I don't want people to think that it was like, oh, she went poop and here we go, because you'd been with the organization a long time.
Yeah.
And so it is. And anybody thinking about that, it's an emotional decision to make because you have relationships, you have loyalty to your team, you have all that stuff. And yet, and I hear leaders all the time go, but I don't want to leave my team.
I went through that cycle. I didn't want to leave my team. I had one of the best teams ever. Do you know what that's like to have the best team ever?
I do.
Oh my goodness. It's like, how do you walk away from something like that? But I
It's
had to.
interesting. Go ahead. Go ahead. But what?
I was just gonna say I had to, because I had to go and not look back, and I had to go with conviction. And
Yeah, it's funny because what I heard when you said, how do you walk away from something like that? It's the in my head was like, how do you turn your back on a team that is that great? And I think it's important for people to realize because you're ready for the next opportunity, the next thing, the next growth to be able to, get more skills and be ready. It doesn't mean that you're abandoning the people that you've cared for. It
absolutely.
actually creates opportunity for them.
Yes, exactly. And that was the thing. That was the one thing that comforted me when I had thoughts about, wow, how do I leave my team? I really feel like I had done a lot of work with uh, my team and a couple in particular where I was kind of grooming them
Mhm.
to be able to kind of step up and into the next level into management. And I felt like, making this decision was not only good for me, but it would also be good for them because it would potentially open up an opportunity for them to step up
Mhm.
and to, the leader that they should be also. And so I took comfort in knowing that, with them stepping up, the team would be okay.
Mhm. It's funny when you say that. It's like you create the opportunities, and part of the story you may be telling yourself is that, and in this world with technology, we never really lose contact with people. But it's like, I'm not going to be with them anymore. They're not going to be in my life anymore. But are they?
They are absolutely in my life.
Exactly.
We are connected
Yeah.
forever. I'm
Yeah.
always excited when I hear from one of the members of that team. I absolutely love and adore each and every one of them, and we've grown so much together, and so that's an unbreakable bond.
Um, so I want to talk, so I thank you for that. What I would love to talk about is the challenge that you stepped into when you left the other organization. So when you go boldly into things you've never done before, you go.
I go.
So you walked into an organization that had less than ideal patient outcomes, patient satisfaction, um, employee experience. I mean, everything that you could possibly measure was less than ideal.
You know what? To the untrained eye, yes, but I
Hmm.
have a trained eye because what I saw was, wow, this is amazing. What a great opportunity. It was like an amusement park. Honestly, I, I know it's hard to imagine that, but that's what it looked like to me. I was so excited.
So I look back and I think about the quote. So the other one that I wanted to share is your comfort zone is where dreams go to die, right? And
Yes.
so your dream, if you will, for work, career aspiration dream has always been to be what?
My dream has always been to be chief nurse executive.
Right. So CNE, CNO of an organization. And so for you, your dream would have died in your comfort zone, right? Because I look at you and what you've gone through from where you were and the team that you assembled to where you stepped into your next biggest challenge that I mean, I don't know a lot of people, Tansy, and I'm not blowing smoke, I'm honest, that could have had the staying power to get to the tipping point that the organization required you to get to actually turn things around so they weren't going to go back, right? Because sometimes we can make surface changes. And if we were to remove ourselves from the surface changes, we're not there and it's kind of like pulling your finger out of the water, it's like it's just going to close in around it. But I honestly don't know a lot of people with the staying power to keep going through that to get to the tipping point at the level that you did. And you and I had a lot of conversations through that journey. What kept you in it?
Oh my goodness. So, there were a lot of things. I mean, I'm just going to be honest and tell you that it wasn't always easy. There were days that I came home and thought, oh my gosh, wow, this is really, really challenging. But if I had to think about things that kept me there, I think it was my family,
Mm,
knowing that I can come home and I have my family to, find support and refuge in. Um, I had a great, I had a great team. We formulated an amazing team and we built strong relationships. And a lot of times the team kept me going.
mhm,
The results kept me going.
mhm.
Um, and then just being, just the ability to see the obstacles as, you know, the way really,
Mhm.
really kept me going. I
One
knew
thing
that
that
I was
came,
in the right place.
oh, go ahead, what?
I was just saying, I knew that I was in the right place. I needed to.
Yeah, I remember back, because we did it was at one, and I don't remember how far in, you were tipping point place, that we did a reflection with the team, basically. You reminded me of how far you had come and how far the team had come from when you started to where you were. And I remember it was done just through the eyes of your journey. And I think there was power in that from a leader sharing that story of how you felt when you first came on site. And we did it through, a chart and then a visual that described, the feeling, the emotion of what you were. And through that journey that you went through, because it was powerful. And the leaders that were in the room, I remember one of them literally had tears in their eyes, because I think the value in leadership is we're so focused on going forward. Celebrate with your team how far you come in that moment, because you weren't there yet, air quote there, right? But you were so far away from where you guys started that, like I said, literally you were at the tipping point and you had tipped over to where I would be hard pressed to think you guys were going to go back. But it was powerful to be able to do that, and powerful for you to be vulnerable and share with them what you felt when you first came on site, and then the journey through it. Um, so can you say a little bit more about what it is from a leadership perspective? Because you're the one that wanted to do that with the team.
Say a little bit more about the leadership perspective, as in kind of what
Why was it important to you to bring the team together that day in that way?
I think I wanted the team to see, to be able to just look. There's so much power in looking back to see where we've come from and to celebrate where we are now. And we did it together.
Mhm,
Everyone here, everyone in that room was responsible for the success that we've had thus far. And
mhm.
there is no way that we would have been where we were in that moment had we not had each and every person on that team. And so I just wanted to celebrate them
I
and share
love that.
with them from my perspective what the journey looked like.
Yeah. And I think there's another component in that too, Tansy. It was around leadership development, right? And when I look back at, I'm going to say, your whole journey as a people leader, that's one of the tenets for you, is about developing your team as well.
Yes, yes, that's something that I really strongly believe in. I think that we don't really take enough time to value, not value, but take enough time to develop our leaders.
Mhm,
It's something that's often like overlooked, or maybe the funding for that is cut out. But there's
mhm,
so much value, because if a leader does it just right, man, the rewards are
mhm.
just amazing. But it's hard to see that when you're trying to figure out, okay, what does it look like to support, leadership development for this person from a
Mhm.
financial standpoint? It's a big deal. I understand that, but if we could just weigh the cost or the financial piece with the outcome, I think, we will begin to see this is important and we need to do this every time.
Mhm. Well, I look back at your own personal journey. I mean, you didn't get where you are because you were born with this ability to navigate stuff the way you do.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I had you in my ear the
Oh,
entire.
well, yeah, but you didn't always want me in your ear, but
I didn't always listen. I didn't always want it, but you know what? It was necessary, and I know with certainty that I would not be the people leader that I am. I would not have the thoughts that I have if it had not been for the work that you did, that we did together, and also the other leadership training opportunities
Mhm.
that I've had along the way.
Yeah, yeah. I think about that. I'm just so stinking proud of you. And the journey you've been on. And I mean, I hold you up as one of those, you're so tenacious. Um, you care about your team, individual people. You walk the talk. And I say that because um developing your leaders, right, individual, and the more that you have reporting to you, it takes time.
That's
I know you to be a leader who dedicates the time. And there's power in that. There's power in that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, when I think about leadership development, yes, you can have outside people come in and help develop. But you shared your personal development with your team because of where they are in their development, so that you didn't draw on outside sources. You were literally going, let's at least get you up to speed to what I know.
yes, absolutely. There's power in developing people. There's power in pouring into people.
Yes.
It helps to build that bond, that relationship that you need to overcome. People, when you invest in people, they they feel empowered, and you propel them to do the work that they need to do. They feel valued
Mm-hmm.
when you take the time to invest in them, because they realize that they are important to you.
Mm-hmm. They
And
matter.
my team is very important to me. There's no way that I could get done half the things that I get done without my team.
I
So
know.
to me, they are the most important thing.
Yeah.
They are the most important thing in the workplace, the team.
So you have an interesting practice, and maybe others listening do this, but you've done it. I don't know if the last two organizations you worked at, is you meet every day with your team.
Yes, I have. I really believe in touching base with the team every single day. In my current role, I had to unfortunately uh, scale that back a little bit, so it's like every other day now. But
Right.
but if I could, I would do it every day. I think that's so important to stay connected, to hear firsthand what the concerns are for today, what the challenges are, and then
Mm-hmm.
also where I can step in and help.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I need the touch point, they need the touch point, and it keeps us connected.
Well, I was going to say it connects, it breaks down silos too.
Yes,
So
it
you
does.
could have, because the people that you have reporting to you have their own area that they're functioning on. I think it's an opportunity to where leaders can learn from each other and learn to reach out to each other.
Yes.
That in the past, I don't know that they would have done it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've walked into situations where leaders that I've had the opportunity to support were just completely in silos.
Mhm.
And I'm scratching my head like, hey, we're one team. Why aren't we?
Mhm.
So okay, in the meeting we go. We're gonna put it together and we're gonna meet. And man, the learning that went on in that meeting, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, it was so impressive. I mean, just wow. I walked out wild every day. The team learning from each other. I mean, I have leaders that are, that's been there for a while versus those leaders that are brand new, leaders
Mhm.
that are brand new sharing experiences and challenges that they are having, and leaders that have been there saying, hey, this is what I've done. Try
Mhm.
this. Or have you reached out to this person? It was incredible. What a
Yeah,
great experience.
I love it. I love it. Um, Pansy, I respect your time, and I appreciate and value you. I mean, you're one of my favorite humans.
Michelle,
Um, So, what are one or two things that you want people to walk away with on lessons in leadership around your journey?
I would say the obstacle is the way. Go to it, run to it, run to it. Don't be afraid.
I love that. Is that a Tanzi quote?
I would love to take credit for that. I'm
Oh,
sure
is it someone else's? Okay, I'll
no,
have to find
I
out
read it
because I
somewhere.
don't know that I've ever heard you say those words.
I think I read
But
it.
they resonate with me as a description of you. You're like, oh, it can't be done. Watch me. I think for me, part of it is it's look forward and work through mentally whatever that OS moment is. And if it feels like you can't do it, check yourself. Because I think that's part of it. When you're ready for the next open door, the door is going to open. You may not realize you're ready for it, but the door is going to open. If it opens, take the opportunity to step through it. It's small steps, you know, to get there, to ready yourself. I watched you in the trajectory, and I think the other thing for me is know where you want to go. I think the thing for me in coaching you over these 10 plus years has been you were really clear, really 100% clear on what the ultimate end game was.
Yes.
And when you are, I think it's easier to step into those things that are scary because you know that's the next step to get you ready for the ultimate thing that you want.
Right.
So I think that's another thing for me is, you know, get some clarity around the end goal and where you ultimately want to land. And it does make it easier to challenge yourself and step into those obstacle is the way kind of quotes. So I appreciate you. And this has been Leadership Soundbites with Tanzi and Michele. Until next time, please like, share, subscribe, and thank you.
Thank you.